So here's what's on the agenda for this afternoon. Yep, that's a brand new heater core. Got it from O'Reilly's. I think it was only like 32 bucks. Not too bad. But as you can see down here, yep, she is leaking very, very bad. Every time I get on it, it's just a steady stream of coolant just coming right down. The only way to avoid it was to drive probably about 30 miles an hour, not even get on it at all, accelerate, not even get out of second gear, hardly out of first. Otherwise, it would just start streaming down. So we're going to tear this out. I think the easiest way, I've seen some videos on it, the best way to do it is just to, of course, take this guy off, undo some bolts, some nuts or whatever I have to find back there, and get that back one back there, unstrap it, and then from what I understand, down here there's another cable I need to undo, so I'm going to tear that out. I'm going to have to undo this plate right here so I can get behind there where the ashtray was or is, I'm not sure. And then it looks like just going to start out up here, undoing those two right there. These are in and outs. You can kind of see where it's leaking and everything, but it's getting to be the end of October, so I figure I better get this in before I really need it and won't be able to use it. And it's still nice enough outside that I'll take care of it. So, all right, I'll be back in a little bit after I get that vent out. We'll get the heater core exposed and go from there. And the only way I know how to do this is really because I just watched other videos. I'm gonna have to put links or just let you know who it was that I saw, but a couple different approaches to it, and I think I'm just gonna basically do my own approach. Just gonna tackle it and see what happens. Go with it. Alright, we'll see you in a little bit. Alright, looks like we got most of everything ready to go, so I can yank out this vent and core right now. I got the glove compartment off, remove this panel right here, took that off. Hopefully we'll reach back there and take those cables out if I can spot where they are. Leak was a lot worse than I thought. I mean, you can see all that coolant right there. It's terrible, horrible. So I took that one screw off, that bolt right there, came around here, removed each one of those. 1, 2, I believe there was one. Those were a bugger to get off. They sucked. That one on the bottom, underneath. I can't see it. There you go. That one right there. That was the worst one. It's like crossing the Atlantic. It took forever. Hidden bolts. There's one way down there. I can't even get the camera down there. It was so difficult. Way underneath there. You can barely see it. You can't even see it. Right there. And then these guys. Alright. Oh, another thing that I ran into right here. These hoses right here that go, straight into the radiator and then into the vacuum on the motor over there. I don't know if they put an epoxy down, if you're supposed to do that, but those sucked. I had to cut the hose and slice this off, and that thing was all, there was no way I could have got that off, because look at that, I haven't even pulled this one off yet, and it's stuck on there. I even put some WD-40 down there thinking it would loosen up. There would have been no way I would have been able to to get that off of there, trying to yank it. So that was my last option, was to cut that. But there's plenty of hose, there's enough slack that I can pull it back up in there into the new one. But yep, alright, we'll see you in a minute. Well, we finally got her done. Yanked her all out. What a mess, what a hassle. And I'm telling you, it's just more time just getting this piece out. It's going to be easy to change it. The hardest part was, let's see, I had to tap this little, there's like a little axle that goes right there, a little pivot arm. Then, getting this guy right here. Got all these screws that I had to take out. And then you think you're done, and you go to lift it up, and that sensor's attached right there. There's another little notch, that guy right there that goes up through that notch right there. That end is sticking up, and just a 1/4 inch bolt, it attaches right there, and that was holding us up. But you just got to make sure that this guy is nice and straight, so it'll come up through that notch when you lift it up. There's the mess. You can see where she was leaking at right there. We're going to replace that, clean this up, and we'll get it back in. So that's it. It took me all of 5 minutes to put that bad boy in. Just make sure that those strapped in nice and tight, seated nice and good, nice and well, however you want to say it. Centered, make sure it's centered. And then there's a strap up there, you just tighten, loosen that bolt right there. Other than that, that sucker made a mess. Hopefully this one will be nice. Alright, now to spend another, hour and a half putting it back in, getting all these bolts, making sure I got all of them. That's going to be the fun part. Alright, we'll see you in a minute. Alright, I'm about ready to get her all put back together. I think I've only spent probably about hour and a half, close to 2 hours maybe at the most, just to get this far. But you know, you got to understand, this is my first time doing it, and I'm just kind of learning as I go. I did run into a little situation though, and this little pivot right here, I'm not sure if this is the way it goes, I'll figure it out. But just real quick, you can tell this little notch right there goes right in that little hole right here. It's either one of these sides. You can be able to tell because it's actually, if you look at the profile, one side is higher than the other. That side's higher than this side, and you'll be able to tell on those brackets if you look at it. But real quick, problem I had right here is there's actually like a profile on this part right here, on that little, so you can kind of see the top edge right here is kind of flat. The way I found that out is because this pivot, or this little dowel that goes inside that it pivots on, has that flat edge, so it locks through on that part right there. But there was so much mucked up and grease and grime, coolant and stuff in there that I didn't realize that, and when I pounded it through, you know, it just was on the wrong side and ended up cracking it right here. But I've used some of this stuff, some of that Loctite epoxy. It's pretty good. It has like a double barrel syringes, so you can mix them all out at the same time and mix up as much as you want. It's really good stuff. It sets in like 5 minutes, so it's pretty cheap, not too bad. So I'm gonna go on ahead and put this all together, get it back into one unit, and then put it back in the car. The only issue I think I'm gonna have right here is just gonna be this little guy right here. This little bracket tightens on to this guy that goes through that notch right there, and it looks like this little screw right here, there's no bolt to it, but it does screw right into there. So before I even give myself any heartache, I know that this part has to go on top so I can slide it if I need to, but it'll still keep it tight. Otherwise I'll be going crazy. I've experienced this before on different stuff, and looking for a bolt thinking I lost a bolt, and actually it just screws, sheet metal screw that screws right in. So alright, I'll let you know how this goes. Hopefully I'll get it back together. I'll clock myself. Not really. Alright, later. Alright, so a couple issues that I've run into. Obviously it's from the previous couple owners, I'm not sure. This little pan back, this little gasket, flap, whatever, vent, this little actuator that hooks up to this vacuum pump or whatever, this vacuum receiver that'll actuate in there. I just noticed that this little seat, this little cleat is broken off, and you can tell where it was hooked up into before and connected, and this would move this little open vent open and closed. And of course, in the previous part I told you about this little part right here to make sure you get that squared. Well, I also told you about me mucking it up and jamming it in there and kind of manhandling it. Well, what happened when I was doing that little flat edge now, it's not seated in the sleeve right there, and now that it's all wedged or gummed up and mucked out and stretched out, every time that this is supposed to turn, let's see if I can fix it, see if I can do it both. When this opens up right here to close that, to move this air vent open and closed, since I reamed it out, it doesn't work anymore. So what I'm going to do, since it's winter time and I don't want to deal with it, and I don't have air conditioning right now, and this is going on 2 hours of doing this, I'm just going to leave that air or the heater vent open, so that way it'll have access to the heater core back here. Down there, it'll suck it out through that vent. I'm not even going to hook that up. Well, I better, just in case it messes something up. But I'm just going to leave this part closed for right now. Put some vent tape on it. Hopefully it'll just take care of that little hole right there, whatever that does. So it looks like down the line I'm just going to either try to fix that next summer or get a whole new part. I don't know. I've done that, looked at LMC, and they have a whole crap load of replacement parts that I can find for this truck. So alright, I'm going to jerry rig this together and go from there. Alright, I pretty much got everything assembled, ready to be put back in. Everything is attached, bolted down, got all the bolts put back in. Everything pretty much, I mean, I'm not very organized, but it's all pretty much self-explanatory. I mean, if you can have basic knowledge of taking apart crap and putting crap back together, there's no issues here. I mean, there's no computer parts that you have to worry about. It's pretty much easy with this model and make an age of truck. I mean, it's just been so easy to do this. The only part, I shouldn't say so easy, mechanically it's been easy, but just physically taking this thing out, maneuvering it through all this tight spaces, and then me, of course, mucking up and screwing up the lever right here on the inside, the little axle that goes all the way through, and you know, it'll be all right during the winter time. You know, granted it's just started, but yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that during the summertime. There's my AC unit that's not even hooked up. That looks pretty good, so that'll be a project for next summer. We'll go through that. All right, I'm gonna hang this thing and see how it goes and let you know. See ya. Well, all right, we got her hung up. Everything's looking good. That's that. I just put some. Looks like a frowny face. But all I did on that was end up just putting some actual vent aluminum tape over that spot where that valve was broken off. That little cleat was broken off. That looks like it's just like a fresh air vent. But we got her hang up again. Everything's all connected up there. All those looking good. Those bolts were a bugger to get back in again. Those right there. That guy up in there. The actual, I haven't even put that bolt in yet. That one right there. But those were kind of a hard angle, and kind of had to bend it up and just manhandle it a little bit. But the actual nozzles that came out of the brand new heater core right here, they're not lined up perfectly, so I kind of had to finesse them persuasively into position. You kind of see they rubbed up against coming in through that little seal. That's something I should have got, but I'll learn it as I go. Alright, I'm going to finish hooking up these hoses here, get everything tightened up, put the vents back in, and then we're going to get her going and see how she does. See you in a minute. Well, alright, she's in. Everything looks good. My only issue is right here. That hose, this hose right here, it's a little bit too small in diameter for that outlet right there, so I'm gonna have to get a bigger hose tomorrow. But I got it in there about a good 1.5 inches, 2 inches maybe, and the clamp is just right down on it. But tomorrow I'm gonna have to replace that with a bigger hose. That'll do for tonight. Not quite sure what that is, like a shut-off valve, maybe a bypass valve. It goes straight into the manifold of the engine. I'm not sure. Like I say, I'm new to this, so if anybody has any idea what that does, if I shut it off, maybe that'll shut it off during the summertime or the wintertime. Summertime, yeah, because I won't need the heater during the summertime. But other than that, it was quite a little booger to get in. Putting that aluminum tape over that whole area right there was kind of a mistake. Now that after I put it in, I realized the mistake I did, and I had to just kind of peel it off and just kind of jerry rig it because those valves still don't work. But be sure to flush this too. Be sure to flush the air out of the coolant system. On this engine, I couldn't find the flush. I was looking around on the internet and YouTube, of course, and I couldn't find the flush nut or the pressure nut on here, the pressure valve. I could not find it on here. They said it should be over here by the throttle, but of course with this type of carburetor, I couldn't find it. So all I ended up doing was just taking the radiator cap off, starting up the engine letting it run for about 10 minutes, and it did. You would see a volume of air come up, and then I'd have to put more fluid in it and let it run for a little bit longer, and then another volume of a void of air would come up, and pretty soon after it ran for a while, I no more air would come up and it would stay level. My reserve right here is pretty much where it should be. You can see it shaking in there. Yep, we're right around this level right here, and that's about where it should be for cold level. So I'm pretty happy with it. It came out all right. I just drove it around the block a few times. I got on it a few times, and I was expecting some failure right there at that particular belt, but we'll see what happens. Since it's going to be winter time, I have all the vents are going to be just basically blowing hot air. Um, as long as the defroster works, everything will be fine. With these side windows right here, I'll be able to cool off really well. But if I can do this, pretty much anybody should be able to do this, because I'm not a car guy at all, and it came out better than I thought. I think I saved about $800-900. It definitely took me about 5-6 hours to do this. That's just going to be a scar memory about my experience on this. So eventually down the line, I'm going to have to get a new lever and a new gear, a new bar for that. But she did good. All right, thanks. This is one of the many tasks that I have to do and complete on this truck and vehicle. So hope I get some subscribers soon. Maybe somebody can help me out as well as me helping somebody out. Take it easy.